The Supercar Challenge is powered by Pirelli, Syntix Innovative Lubricants, Autosportinsurance.com, and IDIS High Definition Surveillance Systems. Welcome to the Supercar Challenge powered by Pirelli. Today we take a look at the first round of the GT divisions at the circuit of Zolder in Belgium. In the two one-hour races, drivers fought hard for the first wins of the season on an occasionally treacherously slippy track. This season, two classes kick off the season, SuperGT and GTB. We start with the ins and outs of the fastest of the two classes, SuperGT. 101 is the Team Race Art SRT Viper GT3R. They won last year's Super GT title by just 7 points, and at that time, their SRT Viper was the only one in Europe, and that remains the case today. Most European teams prefer to opt for a well-developed service, courtesy of Audi or Porsche, but Team Race Art took on the challenge and developed the Viper to perfection in-house to defend their championship title. Behind the wheel of the SRT Viper once more, team owner Roger Graus, Arjen van der Zwaan, and third driver for this season, Kelvin Snooks. Roger Graus is alone in the car though for the first racing weekend, but he feels confident that things will go well. I've improved my own racing skills over the winter. I'm very happy to do the round on my own, so I can learn the car a little better. I think it should be a good thing for me. Also in Super GT for a third consecutive year is Henry Tumbrink's Volvo S60 V8. Last year he finished runner-up in the championship, his best result so far, but that's not enough because Henry's only happy if he's champion. The car hasn't been updated over the winter, hardly did any testing, but the team still feels confident and relaxed. Pole for both races of the weekend proves that the Davy Tech Engineering has again found the perfect setup for the Volvo. Back again this season, 17-year-old Max Cobalt, last year's GTB champion, and he's driving the second Volvo S60 V8. That's a big change for the youngster to get used to. Well, I have to get used to the fact that it's got a lot more horsepower, more aerodynamics. It's nothing like the Corvette I drove last year, but we're getting there. New from Belgium is this 550 horsepower Salixlac Racing Team Corvette GT2. This is chassis number 2, which raced in the 2010 24 Hours of Le Mans. The car's been entered for the whole Supercar Challenge season, with drivers Nicolas van Derendonk and Jeffrey van Hooijdonk. The team and car are new to the mandatory Pirelli tyres in Supercar Challenge, and they've got a lot of work to do on perfecting their setup. Nicholas says when we can optimise the setup and get a little bit more heat in the tyres, we should be very competitive. Unfortunately, we haven't done much testing on the Pirellis, and that's not helping, but we hope to do better in the next few races. Jeffrey van Hooijdonk says the Corvette is a great challenge. The Supercar Challenge is a great championship with very competitive racing. And obviously our goal is to try and be at the front, but we're going to have to put a lot of work in to close the gap to the leaders. We'll start the first race from 7th. The weather's pretty good at the moment, so hopefully luck will be on our side. Further adding to the challenge are the 650 horsepower Mosler MT900R GT3s. This is Barry Van Elk, back in the familiar blueberry racing colours, but new to the championship this season arrived from Spain, Javier Morchillo and Manuel Cintrano. With Morchillo, the car's already claimed a number of wins, but they're going to have to start this Supercar Challenge season from ground zero.
The level of the cars and the drivers is very high. The cars are fantastic. And the drivers are really good. They know these circuits very well. And for us, everything is new. We have a fantastic car, we have a fantastic team. And all we have to do is drive the car correctly and learn the tracks and fight with them.
Well, that sounds simple enough. A last-minute entry has come from the Dutch V8 racing team with none other than 2012 Super GT champion Diederik Seithoff. He shares the Mercedes SLS GT3 with Father Bob, and after 2 years of racing a Corvette in the GT Open Championship, Diederik is back for the Zolder weekend. This is so different from the Corvette. It's not as stiff, it feels a bit like a fast road car, so I have to adapt my driving style to try and find the speed, and that's actually quite difficult. Today's my first time in the car, it all went quite well, so things are looking good for the race, he says. Before Sunday's main race, let's take a look what happened on Saturday in the first encounter. Well, Henry Sundbrink was all on his own in the Volvo, starting from pole and leading by a large margin. He set the fastest lap and looked to be heading towards the first victory of the season, but a puncture dropped him back to 7th. Despite this bad luck, he still scored vital championship points. Rival Roger Graals started from 3rd. He ended up winning by 9 seconds from Nicolas van Dierendonck and Jeffrey van Hooijdonk, with Barry van Elk in 3rd place. Team Raceart leading the Super GT title race in the first encounter.
Ja, het was de kans om het te bewijzen.
Well, this is a chance really to show what I can do doing the race on my own. I stayed close to the leader. I had a little bit of luck, but that's what you need for a perfect result, so now we're the ones to beat. On board with Max Cobalt before Sunday's race, he was asked to race the Davitech Volvo S8 just a week ago. His first laps are on Thursday's practice, but the engine broke, so Saturday's race, his first real run in that S60 V8, he finished in 4th. Roger Graals maintaining the pace. And he looks like he's dropping out of formation here at the start. And as the lights change, away we go. Barry van Elk on the right-hand side. Graals just on the left of the picture, looking down to the inside into the Eerste Links, the first left-hand corner. A little bit of a rub there with Diedrich Seithoff in the Mercedes. As the Volvo holds the lead, we're on board in 4th position. Thinking about the outside line, Diedrich Seithoff on the inside. Through goes Roger Graals into 2nd spot. Seithoff still, though, on the inside. And comes back, and the Viper, just holding up the Volvo. He sneaks down the inside, up to 3rd place. Volvo's 1st and 3rd, the Mercedes in the middle of Diedrich Seithoff. Down to 4th then is Roger Graals in the Viper, and the white Porsche alongside. That's Mark Hussens, the Belgian, throwing it down the inside. Can he squeeze through? Yes, uses the Porsche's traction to drive around the Viper. Barry van Elk finds the road blocked. That's Nicolas van Dierendonck alongside, number 110. Can't quite get the Viper past the Mosler though. So the Moser in 6th position, but Roger Graals losing 2 places off the grid. Max Cobalt up to 3rd from 6th. Great start from him. Frantic opening lap here in Zolder. Henry Sundbrink charging away again from Diedrich Seithoff. There's Max Cobalt, the white car Mark Hussens. Great traction, but losing out on power. That one-off entry not quite as quick. And the Mosler, the Spanish car, battling behind. On board with Roger Graals, chasing Hussens. Hussens with a 3.6 litre Cup car, 450 horsepower engine. It's lighter, nimbler under braking, but oh boy, look at the V10 in the Viper, gobble it up, 680 horsepower of grunt. Ain't no substitute for cubes. And right behind is the Moser, Barry van Elk, 650 horsepower V8. Corvette motor in the back of this car, and he goes straight by the Porsche as well. Hussens definitely with his work cut out to try and stay in touch with the leaders in that Porsche. The twisty stuff works well for him, the straights not so. Leader, tiny margin now for Henry Sundbrink over Diedrich Seithoff in that bronze Mercedes, but where did the tyre rub on the side of the car come from? Taking a look in the first corner. That little contact with the Viper, no real damage done to either car. It just left its black wheel mark on the side of the Mercedes. There is the Viper, the SRT car, all over young Max Cobalt. His first weekend in this S60 V8. Testing was basically race 1. Looks like he's starting to get his head around the car now. Very different, the Volvo, from the Corvette he drove last year. Roger Graals much more familiar with his Viper. Down the inside he goes. Graals moving back up the order to essentially nearly where he started. Henry Sundbrink charging off now, and the battle for second. Diedrich Seithoff in the Mercedes versus Roger Graals in the SRT Viper. And in fact, one of the factory development drivers, Mark Hussens, of course, racing in the Porsche. He developed that Viper, raced it as well at Le Mans. On board with the SRT car, down into the final chicane. Graals still all over the back of the Mercedes. Where is he going to find the advantage? Looked to be struggling a little on traction earlier in the race, but not so here. Maybe he's adjusted the traction control. Maybe he's adjusted his own traction control input. The right foot, but contact into the Eerste Links. Oh dear. Looked like Graals was pretty much in front from the onboard. I wonder how the stewards will see that one. Graals loses a couple of places. A puncture brings him into the pits as well. There's a lot more damage done to the car. The team have told him there's a split oil reservoir. He's left a slick all around the track, and you can see how devastated he is. Well, that's a tough end. He says I got hit really hard from behind by Diederik Seithoff. Just before that, he'd almost pushed me into the pit wall here, and that was really close. But I managed to get by him, hit the brakes the normal point for the first corner, and then he just ran into me. He was at it already yesterday, so I guess I should have known better. But I was going really well, and I wanted to win this one too.
Ik weet niet, Roger was sneller dan ik. Dus
I got no idea what he was up to. He was quicker than me, so I let him go, says Seithoff. Laps before, he gained ground on me under braking, so I knew he could brake much later, so I stayed behind him. But then he braked much earlier, so I had nowhere to go. It's a shame really, but you can't anticipate people braking earlier all of a sudden. Well, that oil on the track means lots of warning signs. Race leader Henry Zumbrink outbrakes himself on the oil and shoots through the gravel at the first chicane, but no damage done. Yellows and slippery surface flag Max Cobalt and the Volvo slows, but Mark Hoosens dives to the inside, passing under yellow, slides wide on the oil, hits the Volvo. Cobalt says, "What are you doing?" He's got a puncture, trying to crawl back to the pits. The car sheds the tyre before it rips the bodywork aside, but that's a tough break for him. Well, some guys just aren't paying attention, he said. Hoosens thought he could pass me on the inside on the oil, hit me hard. Not what you expect with a guy with so much experience. I had to come with a puncture and rejoined, obviously, but no chance then of any kind of good result. Well, he'd eventually finish fifth, out to the Mazda of Manuel Cintrano and Javier Morchillo. Morchillo fought his way up from 11th to 4th, but after the pit stops, a broken drive shaft puts them out.
It was a fantastic race. We enjoyed it so much, and the curves in this circuit are really high, and it's very easy to jump too much and to damage the drive shaft, which is what happened. So yeah, I can't say it's expected, but quite normal in this circuit.
Henry Zumbrink wins race 2. A great recovery drive by Jeffrey van Hooijdonk takes second after Nick van Durendonk brought it in 8th place. Henk Thees remarkable in the less powerful Radical RXC V8. He took third, but they were no match for Henry Zumbrink, who made it look easy. Yeah, it may look easy, says Henry, but it was very hard work. Around the pit stops there was oil everywhere. Really surprised it didn't bring out the safety car, but it was a real challenge to stay on the track. Not easy with 650 horsepower. I was all over the place, but luckily we hung on and won it. Well, that helps Zumbrink's championship standings. He's second, but Van Durendonk and Van Hooijdonk, the newcomers, top the table after race weekend number 1. Stay with us. After the break, we continue with the GTB divisions with a big challenge for Saturday's race winners. The Supercar Challenge is powered by Pirelli, Syntix Innovative Lubricants, Autosportinsurance.com, and IDIS High Definition Surveillance Systems. Welcome back to the Supercar Challenge powered by Pirelli for the first round of the GT divisions on the 4-kilometre circuit at Zolder. We continue with the GTB class again with the fast Cup Porsches at the front of the field. The BMW also could be considered for the championship. Belgium's Frederik Jonckera, last year's GT class champion, and Vard Slice, the 2013 champion, have teamed up in JR Motorsport's BMW M4 Silhouette. For the first time ever in GTB, we have a Mercedes. It's Bob Herber's brand new toy, the Mercedes AMG C63. Last year he competed in SuperGT with the Ferrari 458 GT2. Now he has this former Superstars V8 Mercedes to play with. It's completely different to the Ferrari, he says. It feels much heavier. It's a bit of a brick to drive. Needs a completely different style, but it's really a fun car. Some places it's better than the Porsche, but under braking I don't stand a chance, so it's really good fun to race. Last year, 17-year-old Max Cobalt was the champion in the Davy Tech Engineering Corvette C6. This year, another new talent makes his debut in the GTB class in the same car. After 11 years of karting, a lot is expected of 20-year-old Milan Doncic. It's going to be a year of learning in GT racing and adapting to the car. Of course, our main goal is to win the championship, but we don't want to try and overdo it too fast. Everything's going well so far. In training, we are very competitive, so no complaints. Like Cobalt, Doncia is also coached by Ferdinand Kuhl, who'll be the second driver in the Corvette. In the first encounter of the weekend on Saturday, it was hard to pick a winner, with the top 6 covered by a second in qualifying. Frederick Jonckera stayed out front in the BMW Z4 Silhouette, setting fastest laps and bringing the car into the pits in the lead. Vard Slice made no mistakes in the remaining 18 laps, and the BMW duo raced on to win the first encounter of the season, ahead of Porsche drivers Patrick Lamster, Chris Coles and Marcel van Berlo. Well, pre-season there was criticism for allowing the BMW Silhouette into the GTB class, but the team made changes to silence that opposition. We fitted a much smaller engine, said Vard Slice. We want to support the philosophy of GTB and silence the critics. With less power, we have to rely on the handling of the car, and that evens things out. Despite the fact that we won, our rivals' lap times are basically the same. We want it to be a good championship. Sunday's second race, 21 cars on the grid. Super GTs in front, GTB behind. Patrick Lamster in a white and black Porsche starting from pole holds the GTB lead into the first corner. We're in fifth with Milan Doncia on the left. Bob Herber's Mercedes going around Frederick Jonckera's BMW Silhouette. That's the battle for third. Porsche's first and second in the class at the moment. Mercedes moves up to third, though, to come out of the Lucien Bianchi box and down into the braking area for the first chicane. Around the outside goes the Corvette, a late lunge, and he takes fourth place away from the race one winners. Has to jump the curbs, though, to make it through. There's the white Corvette, the BMW with better traction out of the corner, still alongside. There he is, you can just see him, but controlling the inside line down into the Gilles Villeneuve chicane. Doncia hangs on to fourth position in the GTB class. Further back, the orange and black Lambo, that's Simon Atkinson moving up the order. On board with Bob Herber in the C63 AMG Mercedes, into the dust, chasing the leaders. Right in front, Marcel van Berlo sliding around, oversteering on that dirt. Mercedes with good pace off the corner, good traction. Bob Herber moving into second place out of the Bianchi corner and down into the first chicane. There he is, just squeezes his nose in front. On board now with Milan Doncia. And with the Porsche offline, trying to counter-attack into the chicane. Doncia is all over him. Down to Gilles Villeneuve chicane. Doncia puts the Corvette on the inside, and he moves up to third place. Marcel van Berlo's lost 2 spots in 2 corners, and they're queuing up behind to have a go. By the way, that Corvette is plain white because that's their backup car. The main car broke on Thursday in practice. Bob Herber now challenging for the lead. Patrick Lamster in front, has led from the start, but Herber has the pace, lunges to the inside in the Sternwacht. Milan Doncia may not have raced cars before, but 11 years of karting will have given him great racecraft, and he's using all of that ability. Now he's all over the back of the Porsche, looks to the inside, realises there's not quite enough room, but he's got the momentum here. Look at the drive he gets off the corner. Out-dragging a Porsche is not always easy. The Corvette up to second. The Mercedes leads, ringing the changes here. There's the BMW Silhouette in fourth place. On board with Milan Doncia, Bob Herber's car, trying to get the power down. And Doncia is all over the back of him in this Corvette. The Davitech engineering car working really well here. Does he lunge to the inside? He does. It's late, but it's clean. Can he keep it on the island? He can. Bob Herber has to let him take the lead of the GTB class. Great driving from the youngster, pulling away in the lead from 6th on the grid. And now it's the Lamborghini's turn to shine. Down the inside into the first corner, Simon Atkinson outbrakes Frederick Jonckera for 4th place. On the outlapping qualifying, the Lambo's diff let go, so no time set by Simon. He had to start from the back of the grid. And now Frederick Jonckera shows us that he takes 3rd place into the first chicane, away from Marcel van Berlo. Van Berlo's Porsche now in 4th place and under pressure from the BMW Silhouette. At the back of the shot, Patrick Lamster's Porsche that led at the beginning of the race. Battle for 4th position now, though. Porsche versus BMW Silhouette. Well, as we heard earlier, the BMW team working to fit a smaller engine, less power in the car this season. Still got the same lightweight and nimble Silhouette chassis. Looks to the inside, wheel to wheel, and good respectful racing room. He moves up to 4th, and the Porsche down to 5th. Lamborghini on the attack. Simon Atkinson attacking Bob Herber into the first chicane. This is for 2nd in the class. Herber's on tyres he used in qualifying and race 1. Lost his oil cooler in race 1, running through the gravel. And now his slightly worn slicks are not going to have the edge of the newer tyres. Simon Atkinson in the Lamborghini goes through into 2nd place. And Bob Herber's first race cut short, but he wants to finish on the podium here if he can get his new foray in GTB underway with decent points. Frederick Jonker, though, attacks on the inside. Now this will become the outside down to the first left. The BMW still there. Now he cuts back inside as Herber takes the racing line and brakes later. The BMW goes through. Like Bob Herber said, the Porsches are going to eat him up under braking. Looks like some of his other rivals will as well. The big Mercedes C63, plenty of power, but a bit of a beast to get stopped. The Lamborghini now being chased down by the BMW. But this race is not destined to last long for Frederick Jonker. Just as he's starting to get to grips down into the first corner, he finds the oil left when the SRT Viper got clattered by the Mercedes. The spin somehow manages to remove the rear wing. He bumps backwards into the barriers. Now the pit window is just opening between 25 and 30 minutes in the race as this happens. On board with Jonker, skids onto the curbs. And it's a fairly sizable impact. He manages to get the car back to the pits to hand over to Vard Slice, though. And you can see the damage at the back. Team working hard to try and get it fixed. I was battling with the Lamborghini, says Frederick. I closed the gap. I was planning to get by, but I ended up on oil at the first corner here. Didn't see any flags. Apparently it only just happened. So, yeah, I spun. Hit the tyre wall with the back of the car. Everything was going so well. I had a slow start, but was really fighting my way forward. So disappointed. Well, Roger Grau's Viper left a trail of oil all the way around the circuit as it came into the pits, and Milan Doncha finds it down at the first chicane. Slow-mo shows how hard he hits the curbs. Big shower of sparks, but luckily no damage to the car. After pit stops, teammate Ferdinand Kuhl is in charge. Despite not having a working radio, he's pushing the Corvette to the limit and has a big margin. They'll have a 30-second lead over Simon Atkinson, who has his hands full of Bob Herber as they battle for 2nd. Atkinson finally holding on in the Lamborghini. So it's Corvette, Lamborghini and Mercedes, the top 3. The Porsche Armada are beaten in the 2nd race of the weekend. Frederick Jonker and Vard Slice not in the top 6. They end up in 7th place, losing their championship lead. And that means that after the first race weekend, a great debut for 20-year-old Milan Doncha, his first race win in his first race weekend. Things are looking good, but he doesn't have the lead of the championship. That's held by Porsche's Patrick Lamster and Chris Coles ahead of Simon Atkinson. But with such a tight battle, anything could happen. And that's it for the GT divisions. Next time out at Zolder, the Syntec Super Prix on the 20th and 21st of June, with all divisions of the Supercar Challenge powered by Pirelli and more. For tickets, see zoldersuperprix.be. The Supercar Challenge is powered by Pirelli, Syntec's innovative lubricants, Autosportinsurance.com, and IDIS high-definition surveillance systems.